Elizabeth Ford Middle School, and we're going to talk to you today about an area in academic excellence under lesson design consistency, and what we like to call the instructional model of teaching. A little bit about our school. We're in Allegheny County, the southern tip of Allegheny County outside of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. We have about 560 kids, grades 6, 7, and 8. We do teaming, and we have 2 teams per grade level as we work through it. I'm going to start by introducing our committee over here. This is really a team effort today. They're all going to be taking bits and pieces of this presentation. Over here, we have Nancy Stanich. She's one of our language arts teachers. Marcia Cornell, language arts, 6th grade. Sarah Neal, our reading specialist. Tricia Mattis, our assistant principal. And Eric Del Lucia, world geography, 7th grade. So talking about, in our building, the need for an instructional model and for consistent lesson design. We did it, and I'm going to give you a little rationale here for it, to establish a common language in the building about what is good instruction and what does that look like. Obviously a common expectation, so there's no secrets here as to what we're looking for when we come into the classroom. And there's no secrets as far as what the teacher should be planning and preparing for with their students. We also really focus strongly on the consistent use of best practices and continuing to build capacity in our teaching staff to do the best they can with our students. And also fair and consistent teacher evaluation. Again, there's no gotcha moments. The idea is I'll come in and they understand what the instructional model of lesson delivery looks like. They understand what they need to be doing with their students, and I think that results in fair and consistent evaluation for teachers. And there's the rationale there, Herb Brooks, creativity within a system. So we have a system, we have an outline and a model for this, and then the teachers within that system can be creative in how they design their lessons. It's also important that this isn't just something that we're grasping at straws, that this is based in research. And I like this quote by Michael Schmoker. We need to honor beyond lip service the nearly half-century-old model for good lessons that all of us know, but so few consistently implement, except notably when being formally evaluated. So as an administrator, you come in and you see the dog and pony show, but we want to make sure that that dog and pony show is going on every single day. Let me just give you an overview before I hand it to the team. It consists of 8 clearly defined components, from what we call the do now, you may call it the sponge activity or the warm-up, all the way through independent practice. And again, we can't stress enough how we believe it's grounded in research on best practices. Throw it over to the team for the do now. Eric? We're just going to give you kind of an overview of the steps of the model, and then we'll talk a little bit more towards the end about how we implemented it and how we attack that.
Do now is how you start a class, and oftentimes we start the do now. Actually, I'm physically out of the room. I'm in the hallway finishing hall duty. The kids come into class and they pick up the do now and they go to work. And what we're trying to do in the social studies, that's world geography, we try to support reading in order to try to improve our PSSA scores. Science will try to support math with their do now. So my do now usually has some kind of writing involved and in reading. So I will have an example. If it's Groundhog Day, I'll have a little history of Groundhog Day for the kids, and they read it and answer some questions, comprehension questions about that passage, similar to what they might see in the PSSA. Or if we're studying World War I might have the Guernica painting, and to interpret the painting, so it's not always you reading the passage. Something, you know, of that nature. If it isn't a particular day, like I guess in February we had, as I mentioned, Groundhog Day. I did something for Valentine's Day. I will usually connect it with the lesson we're doing that particular day. When we did the former Yugoslav republics, I had a little picture of a Yugo and the story about the Yugo car, the 1984 car that the kids would never know, but they found interesting, and then they answered a couple questions on that. So that's what that looks like. And so you're done with hall duty. I enter my room and I immediately take attendance. They're still working on the do now. And maybe I'll check homework, you know, if like a quick check if the kids have it and they're finishing up the do now, and then we go to the questions, and away we go to our next step in the lesson. So it usually takes about 5 minutes.
How long is typical class period?
How long's our whole? 43 minutes.
43 minutes?
Yeah, so that's 5 minutes out of it. And you could extend it, I mean, if it's something that really feeds into your lesson, I mean, you could be flexible with that, for sure. But I'd say, on average, most of us are doing about 5 minutes with the do now. And next is the anticipatory side.
Well, the anticipatory set, you know, I hear that and it kind of brings me back to my undergrad years when we had to learn writing lesson plans and we had to have an anticipatory set. But today's anticipatory set certainly looks a lot different from when we were in undergrad. You know, it's what it's for. It's to motivate, activate their prior knowledge, get their attention, actually to grab their attention. And when you prepare an anticipatory set, you want to ask yourself, what do students need to know before delving into that lesson? Your anticipatory set could be something as simple as something up on a screen that could generate a discussion. It could be something as simple as something in these containers that the kids might want to guess, what do you have in here? That could be related to the lesson. Any ideas what I have in here?
Jelly bellies.
What?
Jelly bellies.
No. You know what? Let's get our motivation started. They get their own cup back then. You get your cup up here. Of course, you have to make sure she gets some of this as well. It could be just that quick and that simple that gets them all of a sudden wanting to be engaged, wanting and being motivated to the lesson at hand. As I said, it will activate their prior knowledge, and it gauges their level of background knowledge understanding before they open that book, before you get started with that lesson. When preparing that, you want to include as many students as you can in that activity. And so I see the cups going around. Now, you might ask yourself, how are those chocolate peanut butter cups related to this lesson? Well, we want you to enjoy our presentation, as we want you to enjoy munching on those chocolates, which actually just came from Hershey World on Saturday, for your pleasure. So, hopefully you're engaged, you're listening, and you're ready to learn. So, get the kids motivated, prepared to learn, get them anticipated, come up with some good ideas. If it's science and you bring in a giant rock and let them start talking about it, get some props going, anything like that will work. Next is our learning target. Now that they're motivated, Marcia's going to get you going.
How many of you are classroom teachers? Oh, all right, good. Language arts, anybody? Oh, good. I teach 6th grade language arts, and I like to think of the learning target as the answer to parents' questions. Kids go home, and the parents say, "What'd you learn today?" And the answer is nothing. So if that learning target is on my classroom board and all of our classroom boards, the kids at least know they did learn something having to do with present tense or past tense or point of view in a story, or the difference between fiction and nonfiction. All of us in EF Middle School have our learning targets posted on the board. We actually have one team who made targets like bullseyes, and they put them up on the board and they write their target for their lesson right next to that bullseye type thing. The learning target puts things into focus, not just for the kids, but also for the teachers. Kids learn more effectively and teachers teach more effectively when they have a target. And of course, the target has to be stated in terms so that the kids could understand it and so that it could be measured. For example, one of the learning targets that I just used last week during a writing lesson was, given a sentence written in past tense, students will be able to rewrite the sentence in present tense with no errors in tense. And by the end of the lesson, after we have practiced and worked, the kids know whether or not they have hit that target. Questions? Thank you. Okay. Sarah is next.
I have one.
Yes.
Sorry. As a principal, I'm struggling a little bit with getting some of my teachers to, they want to tell the kids what they're going to do, not what they're going to learn. I've given examples, and I have a very small percentage that just are not getting it. Do you have any suggestions?
Practice, model some lessons, have teachers visit other teachers' classrooms, maybe take some faculty meeting time where put up sample targets and talk about them. Maybe creatively have a teacher try to write a target for a class they don't teach, like me try to write a science target, and then the science teacher work with me to create that target in the terms it should be in, and find some compelling reasons for writing learning targets. I think the big thing would be to make all of your school become engaged in targets. And maybe just focus on that one area of the instructional model to improve it before working on closure or anticipatory set, something like that.
Marcia's a master teacher, and I don't mean to be critical, but we're working on questioning this year. This is one of our focuses. And I don't know about that wait time, Marcia. You asked wrong.
The snow's coming here.
The next piece is the instructional input, getting it into the kids' heads. And I think this is where your creativity really comes in with all these pieces, but this is how you teach and how you choose to teach that particular day. Are you going to do a little bit of lecture with them? I mean, we're in the middle school, so I say no more than 5 minutes on the lecture, because after probably 3, they're not paying attention. I don't care how interesting you are or you think you are. Or are you going to do some group work, think, pair, share with the kids, however you want to work your teaching that day. And this part of the lesson kind of, it looks a little like mechanized, like, we move from one piece to the next piece to the next piece. This is the part that blends together, okay? And you just want to make sure you're cognizant of that you're taking care of all these items as you are in the kind of the meat of the lesson. And so and this goes right into monitor, adjust, which if there's any questions.